Hi everyone, so today our team has decided to do a full switch in our team meta. If you have been following the stream and the uploads, I have been playing Impale Demon Hunter together with a Hoda Barbarian, and that worked really well. We've been blasting through those speedruns and 150 clears in 4-man and all that stuff, and we decided we want to try out the Tal Rasha Wizards. So I spent like 10 hours today blasting Torrent 16, gearing up a wizard, and so did one of our teammates, Shinky Winky, and we set it up and we started blasting. And as you can see here, this is actually going really well. So after some optimizations and some tweaks, we managed to actually end up at a very similar spot, pretty much exactly where we were before with the Hoda Barb and the Impale combo. So that is actually a very pleasant surprise. We expected that Tal Rasha would be a little bit worse, but it seems to be pretty much like a top tier meta now. So we have the double Impale that a lot of people are playing, then we have the Barb Impale, there's the red runs, but those are a bit weaker than those other two. And we have this, which kind of just fits right in there at the top. So double Meteor Wizard, it's actually amazing to play, has a great visuals, maybe it's a bit too much for some people, but personally I'm enjoying it. And the cool part about this is we actually played with two different elements here. So we had one cold Meteor Wizard and one fire unruined Meteor Wizard, that was me. And we combined the power of the two. So I just went through the free planner and updated it with the two extra 4-man speed planners that you can see here. There's one for cold and one for fire. They work very similarly and they have only minor differences, but I need to explain what's going on. So the thing is that the different meteor runes actually do exactly the same damage. You have this 740% weapon damage impact and 235% weapon damage ground dot over 3 seconds. That's exactly the same for the cold and for the fire. But the reason why we have this combo is because the fire can more easily apply conflagration for both wizards. So this is a 6% crit buff, and in a group this is very nice to take. So we included this here and ran with fire. And then we had a cold, like magic missile, it can be another generator, just to proc the 4th Tal Rasha stack. On the cold one, you have elemental exposure, so you buff both wizards with this passive instead, and they both synergize off each other. But this is just kind of a minor thing, it doesn't really matter all that much. You can also do this with double cold or double fire, it's just like this small thing. But the real kicker comes from the smoldering core, because you can stack up this debuff on the enemies for both wizards at the same time. And there was a last minute patch that buffed the member of Twilight to actually apply a stack of smoldering core for each impact. This was not the case when the patch released, and it was probably a bug because I reported it and it actually got fixed when the season launched. So now every time you cast the meteors, you get 4, 5, 6, 7 smoldering core stacks basically, and you get extra smoldering core stacks from the Tal Rasha, proccing the random meteors. So in basically 1 second or so, you can stack up the full smoldering core. And on top of this, you are quite mobile from those teleport resets. So as you can see here in some of those runs, the teleports reset pretty quickly. And if you look at this here, for example, so I press teleport and here it comes back like 2 seconds later or something, as long as they're attacking. So it goes really fast and you don't actually really need any crazy new mobility. You gotta be a bit careful with where you're teleporting and when, because sometimes you might not have monsters to reset on, and you mostly want to kind of passively reset it between the pulls that you make so that you can directly jump to the next and then you attack again, and you really want to minimize the walking time. But in general, this works really well, even without stacking cooldown reduction. All I had here was the diamond and the helm. Now, for those of you wondering, Tal Rasha is a very laggy meta, so this is no real news, I guess, for anyone who has played any kind of Meteor this season. Even in solo push, people lag out. But if you go at a fast pace like this, like 2-minute runs, 2.5-minute runs, maybe up to 3 minutes, you generally don't really lag. We had very few lag issues here, even running full area damage on both wizards. So as long as you have a high kill speed, you do rather small pulls of 10, maybe 15 enemies or so, you're totally fine. So this only happened when we had some 30 or 40 plus monster pull or so. Then the ground effect dots, especially, they start lagging the game, and you gotta be careful of this. Do not overpull in very, very dense maps. But as I mentioned, if you go together as a team, you do these pulls here, You can see it here right now, it just evaporates and you move on. We did try out a star-packed version of this build as well, so we went with Magic Weapon Conduit and Arcane Power on Crit on a Wizard hat, but it didn't really work out that well. We didn't really have big enough pulls to really refill our Arcane Power, and this like fire and cold combo was simply like the best in the end. Another important reason is also that to make Star-Packed work, you need a Wizard hat, so you have to wear the Tal Rasha amulet and you lose the Squirt's necklace. And that one is just straight up double damage, basically all the time. You can protect it quite easily in a group, especially with party buffs. You have a Galvanizing Ward, you have the Dominance passive. Those two passives together are insane for speedruns. And you can even get another shield mechanic like Diamond Skin, or this could be Magic Weapon Deflection if you don't want to press the Diamond Skin yourself. But I prefer this skill here. This is kind of like a Joker slot. So you're well protected as long as you don't get absolutely blasted by molten explosions or grotesque explosions or something like that. Essentially, we have our support barb running ahead a little bit, so whenever the pull is prepared and ready, so you see it's like stacked up, and we start blasting those meteors, this is the time when our barb runs ahead and starts preparing the next pull, and the wizards and the demon finish everything off. What's also quite useful to smooth out the runs a little bit is to desync the conventional element cycles. So it doesn't matter if you play the same element or different elements, but when you start the game together, everyone will be on the same conventional elements timer until someone dies or deceases or something like that, or you unequip this ring. So you can actually turn this off, and then if you wait long enough, like around 20 seconds or so, it will reset the cycle for you only, and it won't sync with the other person in the party. So in my case, I wanted to desync by 8 seconds so that we always have 4 seconds of convention of one of the wizards, and then 4 seconds of nothing, and then 4 seconds again the other wizard, and 4 seconds of nothing again, and repeat, so that we have like a more smoothed out damage rotation in general as you move through the rift. And when you equip this ring, you start at the first element in line. So you can always see the rotation by looking at the order here: Arcane, Cold, Fire, and then Lightning. So this is how it goes when you equip it. And for me, as the Fire Wizard, I had to equip the conventional elements exactly at the moment when it rolls over from Arcane to Cold on the other wizard that runs the Cold element. So that's exactly what you can see me do here in this clip. So I was watching at the elements rotation, and you see this is Arcane, and then I was ready to swap, and here exactly as Cold came out, I equipped it, and you see I have Arcane and then Cold, etc., and he's on Fire and then Lightning, etc. So we are 8 seconds desynced. One last tip I can give you is that you should go into your video settings when you run this and check the low FX if you don't have that yet, because it will just make everything like much more clean, much more visible. So there is a lot of clutter, especially from the ground effects from the meteors, especially on the Cold one, which just covers the entire area, and you don't see anything, you don't see ocular strengths, you don't even see the monsters in some cases. So I can just recommend that. And this is also it for this video. So I wish you good luck with this meta. I think it's super fun, it's really strong, so go try it out. And I wish you good luck in Season 27. See you guys next time.